We're on Daf Yomi Sanhedrin, the third wide line, Tana Rabbanan. This is going to be a long brisa, and then it's going to finish off a couple of lines into Daf Nun Aleph and Aleph, and then the Gemara on the rest of Nun Aleph is going to go through line by line the brisa, explaining the brisa. Okay, so let's see the brisa. Tana Rabbanan, we learned in the brisa. Uvas ish kayin kiseicha lisnais. When the daughter of a man who's a kayin, she begins to lisnais. I read the passage doesn't say it's a kiseicha. Because kiseicha she begins. Now seichel can mean begin. It also can mean a lashon of chulin, of making something worse, of making something that's kodesh and techel. Frak the Gemara, dachla from as a Shabbos. Maybe this is talking about if someone is basash kayin, it's mechal Shabbos. Kiseichel is she's mechal Shabbos. Means she's mechal Shabbos. That mean it would be she gets skila. I'm sorry, she gets streifa. A regular person will get skila. She gets streifa the basash kayin. Tamalaimer, the pasuk says, "Liz nice." The very next word is "liz nice." We're only talking about the kind of chilul that's of znus. Okay. Now, yachla filu pnuya. Maybe this basash kayin is even a pnuya. She's not married. So a basash kayin who's not married, she's still going to get straight if she's mazana. Nemer kanavia, v'nemer lalanavia. It says over here. Excuse me. Pasuk says, "Esavia hi mechalalas," and it says by the case that we had yesterday about Nara Marasa, it says Pesach Beis Avia. So Liznei Beis Avia. So it says over here, we learned it there, Shava. Ma'alalon's nus of Zika Sabal. Just like over there, we're talking about Arusa, right? She was nus with Zika Sabal. She was connected attached to her husband. So too, Afkan, here also is nus of Zika Sabal. This nus is together with the connection to husband. So over here also she's married. Frak the Gemara, the Brisa, Yene Eimer Avia Leitzias Kala Adam. Maybe when it says, Esavia hi mechalalas, it's saying only if she's mezana with her father, that's where she gets streifa. But if she's mezana with someone else, that's totally different halacha. Mar says, Kishuimer, when the pasuk says hi mechalalas, she is Esavia hi mechalalas. She is making her father chulun. If father's being mezana with her, then her father's being mechalal her. Have a kaladam amers. That means we learn that's talking about every person, any person who's mechalal, who's mezana with her, she's mechalal her father.
It was so bad in those days. I thought people were flying.
Okay, first of all, human nature is human nature, and people will do wrong things always, any generation, any time.
Some sort of truth about what things are going on in his race.
Yeah, some wild truth.
But now or then?
Some suffering. His time.
When I was younger.
Yes, truth was written about things that happened in his time. They passed it on, like Haman Bagal.
That's true. When I was younger, I used to spend a lot of time flipping through Shalos and Shuvas, just reading the Shilas, because it's so interesting. It's fascinating. Some of these stories from hundreds of years ago. So, right. That's one answer, and the other answer is that Chazal say that Kol Gadol Mechaver Yitzra Gadol Menu. That just because a person's bigger doesn't mean he has a smaller Yitzhar. He could have a bigger Yitzhar. He has a bigger Yitzhar.
People go now they hear a story like this. You go to your mind.
Well,
yeah, I'm just saying.
People do bad things today also. You shouldn't, but you know, my father was a Rav. He's retired. My father was a Rav. People do bad things.
Where is he?
He's Rav in Muncie, Spring Valley. Yeah. Okay. Now, the way the Gemara discusses it, you'd think that this happens every Monday, every Thursday. This is happening all over the place. Don't forget that just because the Gemara has to say all the halachas doesn't mean all these things happen. Right? Where it does say that about Ben Sarah, I think we're going to have it later on in Mitzvah Shem. Okay. So the Gemara says we see that she's married. She has Zika Sabal. Track the Gemara. Hamani Mekayim Avia. So what's the pasuk Avia telling us? If you're not saying it means that she's mezana with her father, what's the point of saying it? Nemer kan Avia, v'nemer lalon Avia. It says over here Avia, and it says over there by Nara Maras Avia. Malalan's Nusim Zika Sabal, Afkan's Nusim Zika Sabal. So say, if you're saying Gzer Shava, just like over here, we're talking about a Nara, that means she's between 12 and 12 and a half, and Arusa, she's engaged, she has her Eris and not Nesuin. So then over here also, we could say, Afkan, Nara V'Yarusa, that over here also, by Bas Kayin, that she's Mizana and she gets Streifa only if she's a Nara and she's an Arusa. But Nara V'Nesu, if she's a Nara and she has Nesuin already, or by Geras, she's over 12 and a half, V'Yarusa, and she's only Arusa, or by Geras, she's over 12 and a half, V'Nesu, and she's a Nesu also. V'Afilu is Kina, or even if she became much older, she's 47. Minayin, how do you know that she gets Streifa? Tamalayim, the pasuk says, Uvas Kayin, Mikal Makan. It says Uvas Kayin and the Bas Kayin. That's a riboy. To tell you that any Bas Kayin, even if she's, according to this Tana, we'll see it's not so precious.
Dead, right?
Oh, good question. I don't know the answer to that. Okay. Come on. Yeah, but we'll see the Gemara, Mr. Shem, if we get to it, at the top of the Beis Amar Aleph, that seems that Saviyah Mechalas is very literal. We'll see. Okay, so the Gemara says, Bas Kayin, ainly, the Gemara is continuing, the Bryce is continuing. It says in the pasuk, Bas Kayin, and Bas Kayin, ainly al shemisas l'Kayin. I only know if she was married to a Kayin. Right? This Bas Kayin is married to a Kayin, will get this horrendous punishment to Streifa. Nisas Levi Yisrael, if she's Nisas to a Levi, it's not a Kayin, Yisrael, also not a Kayin. And the Gemara over here says Levi Kechavim, but the Mefarshim say that over here it's a change, and it says on the side over here in my Gemara also that really it's supposed to say Lakusi. A lot of times when the censor went through the Gemara, they changed Levi Kechavim to Kusi. So some printer way back when looked at it here and said Lukusi and thought it was really supposed to be Eved Kechavim and put it back to Eved Kechavim. But really it's not Eved Kechavim. We'll see in a second. It doesn't make sense to talk about Eved Kechavim because the Gemara is talking that people that Kedushin is Taifus with them. And a Kedushin is not Taifus by a guy. But it is Taifus by a Kusi, according to Mandarma that says Kedushin is Taifus in B'chai V'lavim. So on this daf, wherever it says Eved Kechavim, I'm going to read Lukusi. Okay? So Lukusi, she's married to a Kusi, L'chalal, to a Chalal, somebody whose father was a Kayin, married a Grusha, the baby is a Chalal. L'mamzer, someone whose mother was an Ishu was Mazana. L'nasin is the people who are Magayer by Yeshua's time, the Guvainim. All these people are not allowed to marry a regular Bas Yisrael. Menayin, how do you know that she's going to get Sreifa if she's married to one of those people who's not a Kayin and she's Mazana while she was married to them, even though she's not allowed to be married to them? She's not allowed to be married to a Mamzer. The pasuk comes to tell us, the Bryce is saying, explaining, Uvas Ish Kayin. It says Uvas Ish Kayin, the daughter of a man who's a Kayin. Why do you have to say the daughter of a man who's a Kayin? Say a daughter of a Kayin. What's Ish coming to tell you? Ish is coming to tell you he has to be a Kayin. He has to be an Ish. He has to be a man. But the person who's Bayal, Afal Pishen Kayanes, the Ish has to be a Kayin, even though she's not a Kayanes, because she's married to a Chalal or a Mamzer or a Nasan or a Kusi, so she's still going to be Chayiv. He b'streifa, Gemara says, on the pasuk it says, Mesaviyah he mechalalas, that be'ishti saref, so he b'streifa, we had this Gemara before already, that she gets streifa, ve'in bayala b'streifa, but the person who's bayal her, he's not getting streifa. He b'streifa, and she gets streifa, ve'in zavimah b'streifa, and the zaymim, we saw this Gemara on Nun Amud Beis, don't get streifa. And we're going to see it again on Amud Beis over here also, Nun Aleph Amud Beis. Rabbi Eliezer says a cryptic thing. Esaviyah b'streifa, v'schamiyah b'skila. Her father gets streifa, and her shver is skila. What's going on over here? The Gemara is going to talk about this later on the staff. Amar, we learned. Now we're going to go through the Brisa. Come out every line of the Brisa. We're going to go through, and the Gemara is going to explain it. The Gemara says that we had a Havamina. It says we had a Havamina until it said the word Liznais. We had a Havamina that means maybe Chil Shabbos. In fact, the Gemara, that doesn't make sense as a Havamina. Chil Shabbos Baskilahi. If Chil Shabbos Baskilahi, if she was Mechal Shabbos, she gets Skila. So we're saying the end of this pasuk that she gets Streifa. What's the svara to say? Well, if she's a Basish Kain, normally a regular Yisraelis who's Machal Shabbos, she gets Skila. But a Basish Kain or Mekel, and that she gets Streifa.
But the pasuk says, it said, what's all this pasuk? Kisei chalusnis. Baslish going kisei chalusnis.
But the Gemara is asking a question. The Brisa had a havamina. The Gemara is asking, the Brisa havamina has to make sense, right? And the Brisa havamina is, it says kiseichel, and you would have thought that means chil Shabbos. Therefore, the Torah has to tell us, Liznais to say that the chil was chil of znus. What's that havamina? If she would be getting, if she was being mechal Shabbos, she gets skila. Right? And the end of this pasuk is she gets streifa. That's a kula, right? Because we said yesterday, according to Rabbanan, skila is the worst, streifa is less. So we're going to say, Swara, Basish Kain is supposed to be held to a higher standard. If she's Mechal Shabbos, she gets less. That doesn't make any sense. And for the Gemara, Rav says, Hamani Rab Shimon. You're right. It's not the Rabbanan, it's Rab Shimon. The Amar Streifa Chamura. He says Streifa is more Chamar. So now, Salkadai Tachamina, your Havmina would be like this. If he didn't say the word Liznais, if just said Kiseichel, I would have said, Hoil v'achmer b'hu rachmana b'kayani. The Torah is machmer by male kayanim. To Rabbi B'hu Mitzvah Siseris, I'm sorry, by all kayanim. To Rabbi B'hu Mitzvah Siseris, that the Rebbeinu Shalom gave kayanim a bunch of extra mitzvahs that Yisraelim don't have. Take them to Streifa. Therefore, she should get Streifa for doing something like Chil Shabbos. And don't forget, according to Rav Shimon, Streifa is the most Chamor to Kamisa. In other words, someone who's with Chil Shabbos, according to Rav Shimon, is getting skila. A regular person is getting skila, but that's not the most Chamor punishment. The punishment could have said to get Streifa. Oh, by a Kayin, a Bas Kayin, we bump her up and say it's much worse. She gets Streifa. Kamash Malan, so the Pasuk tells us, Kiseicha Liznais, that when she's Mizana, she gets Streifa. But by Shabbos, she's still going to get skila, the much more chamr, the less chamr dika einish. And same thing by a male. Track the Gemara. Why would you think that a girl? This pasuk is talking about in a keva, right? Why would you think that a girl would be more machmer by Shabbos? That's not having that a girl would be more machmer by Shabbos to say she gets streifa according to Reb Shimon than a guy who's a kayin. We're saying a guy kayin would get skila for Shabbos, which is not as chamer. But the havamina was that a girl kayin would get streifa. Haytachin, why should we be more machmer by the girl than the guy? Where it says, your havamina is like this. A male kayin, ishtari le Shabbos, legabe avodah, where Shabbos becomes mutter to him for avodah, because a male kayin is allowed to be mechal Shabbos, to shech the purple tamid, etc., to do the malachas and to light the fire of the maracha, right? Do the malachas in the Beis Hamikdash. He's allowed to do that. But she, even though ishtari Shabbos legava, since Shabbos is not mutter for her, so in other words, by the male kayin we see. Not even that it's out there. Rebbeinu Shalom is makel by him. A male kain.
So that tall guy is more makel than me.
What?
That tall guy is more makel than me.
That's Gemara's havamina. Maybe that tall guy who's mechal Shabbos shouldn't be right. Shouldn't be so. We shouldn't be so machmer with him about Shabbos. So you might have a havamina that will be the case. But by her, Shabbos legava, maybe she gets a worse einish streifa. Kamash Fulan, then not. So that this is going. The Gemara. The Gemara is explaining that this part of the Brisa is talking according to Reb Shimon. Then the Brisa continued and said, Yachal afilu pnuya. Your havamina would be that even a pnuya who's mazana should get a streifa. And the pasuk the Brisa said, no, we have a gzer shava avia to nara maras, and just like over there she has zika sabal, there's a husband in the picture. Over here also there's a husband in the picture. Correct the Gemara. How would you again? The Gemara's kasha is what's the havamina of the Brisa? How could you say that you'd have a havamina that a pnuya should get streifa? Haliznais ksiv. It says nus. It's not nus by a pnuya. She's not married. She's not neisha sesh. And for the Gemara, could Rabbi Eliezer? It's going like Rabbi Eliezer. The Amar Pani Abal Pnuya Shloim L'Shavichos Asar Zaina. He says that the sprach, the word Zaina, applies even by a single man who is by a single woman, not l'shem ishas, not l'shem kedushin. Yeah, but the chiddush is that even though they're both single, it's still considered znus. He calls that znus. Asar Zaina. He makes her into a Zaina, and therefore she's not allowed to marry a kain. Okay, so that's the havamina. And then the Gemara says no, avia, we learn out that it's gzer shava that even that there has to be zikzabal, that has to be havamina. Then the Brisa continues and says, maybe it's it's coming to say, the Brisa says, Avia in the Pasuk, to exclude everyone else. That she's only Mizana, the only case where she gets Shrefa is when she was Mizana with her father. In fact, the Gemara, what are you going to tell me this? They were talking about that she's Mizana with her father because you're excluding everyone else but her father, and that's the case where the pasuk, the Havmina would be that she gets Reifa only when she's Mizana with her father. My Yuri Bas Kayin. That's not a good Havmina, because if that's the case, why would you say only by Bas Kayin? I feel Bas Yisrael Nami. Even a Bas Yisrael also, it was Mizana with her father gets Reifa. Rava says, we had this Gemara yesterday also. Amali Rav Yitzchak, not the Gemara, but the Allah we had yesterday. Amali Rav Yitzchak Bar Avadimi says, Asya Heina Heina, Asya Zima Zima. You learn two Gzera Shavas. One Gzera Shava is saying that a daughter, someone who's Mazana with his daughter, gets the same einish as Bas Bita, as his granddaughter, which we have a pasuk for. And then the Gemara says that's Heina Heina. And then the Gemara Zima Zima is being is Gzera Shava to Shreifa. So we say that someone who's Baal his daughter, who's Mazana with his daughter, is going to get Shreifa. So therefore, Rava says, since Rava says we see that someone who's Mazana with his daughter gets Shreifa, it's true. You need to say this you have to say that it's not talking about just her father. Because you would think that the pasuk is coming to exclude from Rava. Because the Torah said by Bas Kain Bas Yisrael. What does this mean? This means like this. The Torah says over here a halacha that a Bas Kain that's Mizana with her father, that's a Havmina, that she's Mizana with her father, gets Shreifa. No, we said she's married, right? We're past that point in the Brisa. But we said that a Bas Kain will get, who's Mizana with her father, will get Shreifa, right? Special halacha because it's a terrible thing she's Mizana with her father. So what's the Havmina? The Havmina is that maybe the Torah is telling us that, you know what? A Bas Kain who's Mizana with her father gets Shreifa, but any other daughter who's Mizana with her father will not get Shreifa, and that's specifically why the Torah tells it to you by Bas Kain to say that not a Bas Yisrael. And the Brisa is arguing with the Gzera Shava that Rava says. That you don't know that Gzera Shava. Kamash Malan, that's why it has to tell us that no, a Bas Kain who's Mizana with anyone, not her father, will get Shreifa. Okay. Then the Brisa continued and said like this: Bas Kayin, it's a Bas Kayin. Ainli Elashanisis LaKayin. We only know that she's going to be Chayav Shreifa if she got married to a Kayin. Nisis LaLevi LiYisrael. She's Nisis to a Levi Yisrael who's not a Kayin. Or it says Ulevi Kacham, but we're reading it as Ulakusi. Or she marries a Kusi. Ulachalal, a Chalal, a Nasan, or a Mamzer. Minayin. How do you know that she's Mazana after she's married to them? She gets Shreifa, even though she's not allowed to be married to the last couple of them. Talmud Laimar Bas Ish Kayin. Pasuk says Bas Ish Kayin, Bas Ish Kayin. Even though she's not a Kohenes, right? Because now she's married to somebody else, so she's not a Kayin. She's not a Kohenes. In fact, the Gemara on this Brisa, Mishum the Insivu Lula Hani La Bas Kaini, she stops being a daughter of a Kayin because she's married to a Yisrael or to married to a Levi. She's still a Bas Kayin. Her father was a Kayin. She's a Bas Kayin. What? But does she fit the definition of being the daughter of a Kayin? Right. So that's Gemara's kasha. What's the Havmina over here to say that it would change? They need a pasuk to tell you, a Riboy from Ish, that no, he's the father has to be Kayin, but the husband does not. And also, does the pasuk say that she has to be married to a Kayin? It just says Basish Kayin, right? It doesn't say just to marry to a Kayin. And for the Gemara like this, Salkadai to Chamina or Havamina is Kiseicha Liz Noisam Rachmana Hanimilechad Chamiskala Hashta. The Torah says when she begins to be Mizana, and we would think that when this is her first act of Znus, this is her first quote unquote going off the derech, having being boiled somebody who was not her husband and who's not a Kayin. The Chamiskala Hashta, she started now. But this lady, she already started before. She was married to a mamzer. She's not allowed to be married to mamzer. So maybe if she goes, she's already sort of out, it's not the haschala anymore, it's not kiseicha liznais. So if she's mizana now, she's not going to get straight for it. She'll get chenek like a regular Bas Yisrael, right? The Amar, because we learned, Ubas Kain Kisiyah Ishnar, we learned that when a Bas Kain, the Pasuk says, get married to Ishnar, Kivan Shenivala, Radash, Kivan Shenivala, Pasala, late Pasla. Once she's nival to someone who's pasal to her, she's pasal from Kuna. If a lady marries, let's say, a mamzer, she's not allowed to do that, and she's a Bas Kain, even after he divorces her, if after he dies, she's not, well, if he divorces her anyway, she wouldn't be able to go back. But even after he dies, she wouldn't be able to go back and marry a Kain. And the Levi Yisrael Nami, and for even a Levi Yisrael, where it's not an Isra for her to marry them, but we'd also have that question. Because we have a happening like this. Pasuk says, "V'shava beisavia kinurel." A man marries a woman. She's a Bas Kain. So now she's married to him. She can't teach Truma. He's Yisrael. She can't teach Truma anymore. She can't teach Truma since she married to Yisrael. Now he dies, and they didn't have any kids. So the Shava beisavia kinurel. Once he dies, and without any kids, she goes back to her father's house and she's allowed to eat Truma again. Which means that during the time that they are married, she's married to Yisrael or married to a Levi, she's not letting Truma. So maybe during that same time she's married to, she doesn't have halach like the Bas Kain, she doesn't get Shreifa. Mashmalon, that she does get Shreifa. And the Gemara is going to knock it down even a little harder over here, because the Gemara is going to bring Rabbi Meir as a problem with Taka holds that it's not the same. With Leik Rabbi Meir, not like Rabbi Meir, it says the Tanya, but it's really a Mishnah. It's not, we learned in a Mishnah. Bas Kain, she misses the Yisrael. A Bas Kain, she married a Yisrael. So now, nothing wrong with that, but she's not allowed to eat Truma now. And now, Vachma Truma, she ate Truma by mistake. The halach is, if you eat Truma by mistake, you're stealing from Hekdesh. You have to pay a Karen and a Chaydesh. But Shalemis is a Karen, but Shalemis is a Chaydesh. She has to be the Karen, because she stole from Hekdesh. She's not supposed to eat this. But the Tanakama holds, she doesn't pay the Chaydesh. Because the Maisa, she's still a Bas Kain. She's still the Parsha of getting minus Guna. And if she's Mizana, she gets Shreifa like a Bas Kain, even though she's married to a Yisrael. However, this is the Echad Psulim. If she was married to one of the Psulim, like we said the case before, Yishlemes Karen L'chaimesh, Misasa B'chenek. She pays Karen L'chaimesh. She's mamish not like a Kain. She's like a regular Yisraelis. And not only that, if she's Mizana, her Misa is Chenek like a regular Yisraelis. Dimur Amir, that's what Amir holds. The Chamleim and the Chamleim hold Zu V'Zu Mishamas Karen L'chaimesh and Misasa B'shreifa. No, whether or not she's married to a Kain or a Pasal, or a Yisrael, either way, she's mamish has halach like a Bas Kain. She has to be Karen and not a Chaimish, and her Misa will be Beis Shreifa. Okay, that explains that line of dialogue in the Gemara, in the Brisa. Rabbi Eliezer Omer, the Brisa continues. It says, Rabbi Eliezer says, this is the cryptic thing. Rabbi Eliezer says, it's very strange. Esaviyah b'Shreifa v'Eschamiyah b'Skila. Her father with Shreifa, her shver with Skila. What's going on over here? Maya Esaviyah v'Eschamiyah. What does it mean, her father and her shver?
What's the difference?
What?
Why is it different?
What's it talking about? You know what this all over Desert means? The words don't make sense. Her father
Shver is not related to it, right?
Yeah, but what about her shver? What did he do? What does her shver have to do with Shreifa? What does the father have to do with anything? What's he saying? Right? He says her father with Shreifa, her shver with was she mizana with them? Was she mizana? We don't know what's going on. So the Gemara says like this: what does it mean her father and her shver? Maybe you say what it says Esaviyah means me'aviyah. She's mizana with her father, and Veschamiyah, and when it says her shver means me'chamiyah. She was mizana with her shver. Then Ma'ir Bas Kain. What's the nafkamina Bas Kain? Afil Bas Yisrael Nami. even a Bas Yisrael, the halacha is B'tei b'streifa. Somebody, we said before, someone is Mizana with his daughter, she's going to get streifa. U'v'kalasi b'skila. And someone who's Mizana with his daughter-in-law, he's going to get skila, right? You're not letting the person not allowed to be Mizana with his daughter-in-law, right? So it's Ishes Benai, right? That's a pasuk in Achremes, right? Not allowed to do that. So what's left? Why are we saying that this special halacha by Bas Kayin? Ella must be something totally different. Esavia means Rishus Avia. What says Esavia means she's still in the Rishus of her father. Why? She's an Arusa. She's an Arusa, right? Ves Chamia, her Shver means Rishus Chamia. She's already in the Suah. She's in her Shver's Rishus. In other words, she's out of her father's Rishus. Right. It doesn't mean that. Right. Come on. So now, if this is what it means she's Mizana when she was in her father's house. But she was Mizana when she's Arusa. Right. Then what's the halacha? It says Streifa. She gets Streifa. When she was Mizana by her Shver, when she's in a Suah already, she gets Skila. Now let's analyze this. Come on. Who could this be going like? If it's like the Rabbanon, Ha'amri, we said, and we learned this Gemara yesterday, Yisua Yatzas L'Sreifa, V'loi Yatzas L'Sreifa, V'loi Arusa. The Torah takes out in the Suah for Sreifa, but not in Arusa. The Rabbanon hold that an Arusa, who is Mizana, is going to get skila. Did I say that right? Right. They hold that we said yesterday that they hold that Arusa is more chamer than a Suah, and they hold that skila is more chamer than Streifa, not like Reb Shimon. So therefore, when the Torah says that an Arusa of Bas Kayin gets Streifa, the Torah only said that by an Arusa that she goes when she's in Bas Kayin from a Nesua, a regular Bas Kayin, a regular Bas Yisrael Nesua gets Chenek. Bas Kayin gets Streifa, goes up a level. But you don't say that a Bas Kayin Arusa that gets Streifa, a Bas Yisrael Arusa which gets Skila, by a Bas Kayin Arusa goes down to get Streifa. Because you don't go down. The Bas Arusa is already Skila, and that's higher. So now, that doesn't make sense to say that when she's Rishus Avia, she's an Arusa, Rishus Avia, that she should get Streifa, right? And this, Rabbi Eliezer said, is Avia b'Streifa. When she's learning, that means now, Rishus Avia, she gets Streifa. So that doesn't make sense. Rab Shimon, if it's going according to Rab Shimon, who says Streifa is more chamer, Amar Achs Arusa, Achs Nesua b'Streifa. We said yesterday, that Rab Shimon holds whether she's an Arusa or an Nesua, she's going to get Streifa, because he holds Streifa was more chamer. So you do say that a Bas Kayin who's an Arusa gets Streifa. And over here it's saying that only by an Arusa she would get Streifa, but Bes Chamia, when she's in her Shus or Shver, she's in a Suah, she would get Skila. V'ik Rabbi Shmuel, and if it's like Rabbi Shmuel, then Rabbi Shmuel is a new shita. We didn't have Rabbi Shmuel yet. What does Rabbi Shmuel hold? Ha'amar, he holds Arusa Yatzis L'Streifa, plain a Suah. And Arusa, the Torah took out an Arusa to say she gets Streifa, V'loi Nesua, and not Nesua, because he learns that the pasuk by Kayin is only talking about an Arusa. So an Arusa will get Streifa, but an Nesua will still get Chenek. And the Gemara is going to talk on a days how Rabbi Shmuel learns that. So now, then as Chamia, when she's by the Rishus of her Shver, because she's in a Suah, Chenek, she gets Chenek. So how can you say that by as Chamia is Beskila? So the bottom line is, whether you go according to Rabbanan, whether you go according to Rabbi Shimon, whether you go according to Rabbi Shmuel, you're always stuck. You have no way to make Rabbi Eliezer make sense. What's chat? Shalach Ravin, Mishmei Rabbi Yisrael Rabbi Chanina, Kach Yatzah Shal Mishnah. So Ravin sent the name of Reb This is the explanation of the Mishnah, of the Mishnah he's learning. It's a brisa, so of the thing that we learn. Really, it's going from Rabbanan. And this is what Rabbanan holds. Anything that's not as chamer as the Misa Savia. What's the Misa Savia? Misa Savia means what einish would she get if she is Zana with her father? Shreifa. So what's less than that? What einish is less than that? So Umayni Nesua Bas Yisrael, and what would that be? Nesua Bas Yisrael, Nesua Bas Yisrael B'Chenek, and Nesua Bas Yisrael B'Chenek. Hacha over here by a Bas Kayin, the Misa Savia B'Shreifa. She gets the misa of her father if she would be mizana with her father with shreifa. In other words, in the situation that's a nesua, she would get a bas kain gets shreifa, even though a bas Yisrael gets chenek. Kashi l'malam misavia, in a situation where it's a higher einish than the einish she gets if she's mizana with her father. If she's mizana with her father, she gets shreifa. But what's the situation where she's mizana with her father and she gets worse than that? Skila. My new Arusa Bas Yisrael. What's the case of that? That's Arusa Bas Yisrael and Aram Arasa. You Arusa Bas Yisrael but Alma B'Skila. Generally speaking, an Arusa Bas Yisrael gets Skila. Hacha over here by a Bas Kayin, the Misa's Chamiha B'Skila. She gets the same Misa as if she was Mizana with her Shver, which would be Skila. So it's a sort of convoluted way of explaining what it means Chamiya and Aviyah by saying what level Misa would be. In fact, the Gemara, Maskler, Yirmiyah asked the Kasha on this. Does it say anything like this in the Brisa? The words Lamala, Lamata, it's not here. He's saying you're forcing too much into the words of the Brisa. Rabbi Yirmiyah says, I have a different shot. What's a different shot? Rabbi Shmuel. Really, it's going like Rabbi Shmuel. Rabbi Shmuel again says that Arusa Bas Kayin gets Streifa and not on Nesua Bas Kayin. And this is what it's saying. As Aviyah, when it's Aviyah, what does that mean? B'shus Aviyah. When she's an Arusa, she's still in the Rishus of her father. It's Streifa. She gets Streifa. That's what Rabbi Shmuel holds. And Arusa gets Streifa. That's Chamiya, and when it's Chamiya, what does that mean? Chamiya doesn't mean when she is a Nesua. It means Chamiya. If she's Mezana with her Shver, the Skila, she gets Skila. The Chaladam, but if she's Mezana with anyone else, because now she's a Nesua, then the Chenek, she's Chenek. So Arusa, when it says Me'aviyah, it means when she's not Arusa. When it says Chamiya, it means she's been Nesua, but she's been Mezana with her Shver. But when she's Mezana with someone else, it's going to be Chenek. Correct? What? Yeah, this is not a role model for Amar Rava, Maishna, but we're going to answer in a minute why. The Gemara is going to talk about why we learn all these halachas.
You go to seminary.
What?
You go to seminary.
You go to seminary. Amar Rava says, Maishna. What's the difference? He's asking Kash like this. If you learn that Aviyah means she was Mazana with her father, then learn Chamiya means she was Mazana with her Shver. If you learn Aviyah means she was Bershus Aviyah, she was an Arusa, you learn Chamiya means Bershus Chamiya, she's an Asua. You can't learn one is Bershus and one is the actual. It doesn't make sense. It's not consistent from the Brisa, which is what Rabbi Yirmiyah was doing. Elam Rav says a different shot than Rabbi Eliezer. Rabbi Shimon. Really, Rabbi Eliezer holds like Rabbi Shimon. That Skila is less chamer than Streifa. Streifa is the most chamer, and he holds that Rabbi Shimon holds that an Arusa and an Asura Bas Kayin both get Streifa. The Kasavar Rabbi Eliezer holds Nesua Karusa. An Nesua is like an Arusa. Ma Arusa Chad Darga Maskin La Maskila Streifa. Just like an Arusa Arusa. Arusa Bas Yisrael is going to get skila. But what happens if she's Bas Kain? Bump her up a level, more chomer. She gets streifa, which is worse according to Rav Shimon. Af Nesua Chadarga. Nesua is also one Chadarga Maskin law. We bump her up one level. Mechene, which is number 3 according to Rav Shimon. Leskila, which is number 2 to Rav Shimon. So that's what it's saying. If she's when it says Arusa, it means she's Rishus her father. She's Arusa. Which says Avia means Rishus Avia, Arusa. When it says Chamia means Rishus Chamia, she's a Nesua. And it means that you bump up one level and Nesua gets skila. This is a chiddush. This is something we never heard before. We're saying that a Nesua Bas Kayin gets skila. Right? We never heard the shita before. Masculine Chanina. Chanina asked the kasha. You can't say that Rabbi Eliezer is going according to Rabbi Shimon, because Rabbi Shimon holds that a Nesua also gets Reifa. And here he's saying that Rabbi Eliezer holds that a Nesua gets skila. So you can't say this doesn't shtim with Rabbi Eliezer. Elam Ravina, so Ravina says another shot. Loilam Krabanan. Really, we're going with Krabanan. The Epach, and switch it around. We learned the wrong way. Esavia beskila. If she is with her father, in other words, for Shus her father, she's Arusa, she gets skila. Eschamia b'streifa, and if she's a Nesua already, she gets a Shus of her shver, then she gets streifa, which is the sheet of the Rabbanan. So, in fact, the Gemara, Ravina explains, like, why are you saying this weird lashon? It's Avia and it's Chamia, saying if she's not a Arusa or a Nesua. Right? Yeah. The high the kamra Savia, and the reason why it says it's Savia and it's Chamia is Sircha ba'almanakat. We're just continuing the language. The brisa before is darshaning the pasuk Savia himachalalas. We're talking about Avia, so we're just keeping on going that same language, same vocabulary we're saying in the brisa. But really, when it says Avia, it means Rishus Avia, she's a Arusa, and Chamia means Rishus Chamia, she's a Nesua. Fine. Now, Amar Rav Nachman, Amar Rav Avua, Amar Rav. Rav Nachman said the name of Rav Avua, the name of Rav. Halacha ki the Shalach Rav and Meshped Rav Beis Rav Chanina. Halacha is like Ravin sent in the name of Beis Rav Chanina. We had before, towards the bottom of Amar Aleph, that what's Pshat in Rabbi Eliezer, and one of the Pshatim we said was this shita. Shalach Rav Moshe Beis Rav Chanina Kachi Yatzah Shal Mishnah. This is Pshat in the Brisa that La'olam Krabanan and the same Pshat in the Brisa. Track the Gemara. Amar Rav Yosef. Rav Yosef says, Hilchsa l'Mashicha. You're telling me a halacha for something that's not negei halacha l'Maisa, a halacha for the Maisa Mashiach? When Mashiach comes, then we're going to need it, because then you're going to have Mises Bezdin again. But right now, in Rav Yosef's time, there's no Mises Bezdin. Rav Yosef was an Amira. We already said that when Mises Bezdin stopped 40 years before the Churban Bayesheni. So what's the saying the halacha over here? If the Gemara, Amle Abaya says, El Miata Shchitas Kachim Lisni Hilchsa. Lisni Hilchsa L'Mshicha. You shouldn't learn Kachim? What's Bris gonna do? He can't learn any Kachim. It's Hilchsa L'Mshicha. It's not Negei of Azman Azeh. What the halach is by carbon oil or carbon shlamim or whatever. Right? Ella, what's Pshat? Dreish V'Kavah Schar. Darshan and yet the Schar. Even though it's not Negei of Azman Azeh. Achnami, Dreish V'Kavah Schar. So we're also Dreish V'Kavah Schar. Why are you asking me Hilchas L'Mshicha? So Rav Yosef answers, Hachikamri, this is what I'm saying. Hilchas L'Lamli, Sugi Nishmaita, Halacha Kamar. He's saying, Sugi Nishmaita, Halacha Kamar. He's saying, why do you need to tell me Hilchasa? This is the Sugi Nishmaita. This is the way when it's explaining the Sugya. In other words, we want to know what's the Pshat in Rabbi Eliezer. And we say multiple Pshatim in Rabbi Eliezer. When Rabbi Eliezer comes, when Mashiach comes, and you have Chiyas HaMesim, Rabbi Eliezer comes, we're going to ask him, what's Pshat in what you said? what did you mean? That's what Rashi says. When the answer comes after Tchias HaMeisim, we're going to ask him what he means. You don't need to tell me a halacha because there's not a machlokes in halacha over here, right? There's no machlokes in halacha. The halacha shaila is what Rabbi Eliezer holds. But we have three shittas: Rabbanan, Rab Shimon, and Rabbi Yishmael. Rabbi Eliezer is not saying a different shitta than one of those. So we're just trying to figure out what's pshat in Rabbi Eliezer. That's not a halachasa. That's not a halacha. It's a pirush of Rabbi Eliezer. We'll ask Rabbi Eliezer after Tchias HaMeisim. So that's he's saying that was what his kasha tabaya was. Fine. Now the Gemara quoted Rabbi Yishmael before. We've never had him before. So the Gemara quotes him assuming we know him. But now the Gemara says, wait a second, do we really know what Rabbi Yishmael is? My Rabbi Yishmael. What's Rabbi Yishmael? The Tanya we learned the Brisa. The Basish Kain Kizechel is nice. The pasuk says it's different than the Brisa we had before. The Basish Kain Kizechel is nice. The Nara V'Yarusa Hagasim Daber. The Gemara takes on as a Muslim Shita. We're talking about a Nara who's an Arusa. The Gemara Ata Aimer B'Nara V'Yarusa. You're saying it's an engaged Nara. Maybe it's even a Nasua, and even a Nasua will get streifa. We have a different pasuk. Stand by regular znus. A man who has mizana with a woman, she's married, will get Eishes Reu. She's Maisumas gets chana, and Maisumas and Nefes. They both get chana. Now, this is similar to what we learned yesterday with different Joshua. It's similar. When the pasuk says this pasuk, it includes everyone in Noif Nes. Sharusa, Nesua, Bas Kayin, Bas Yisrael, all cases gets chenek. So now, Haitzia Kasav, Bas Yisrael Baskila, Bas Kayin B'Shreifa. Now we have two different pasukim. One pasuk is by Bas Kayin, and one pasuk is by Nara Marasa Bas Yisrael, and by Nara Marasa it says she gets skila, and Bas Kayin she gets streifa. So in other words, the Torah says the two exceptions to the halacha of chenek, mois yumas hanayef hanayefes, the two exceptions for that are by Bas Kayin, who is mizana, and a Bas Yisrael, who is mizana when she's an arusa. So makish see as akasav as Bas Yisrael skila arusa b'nesua, just like when the Torah said exception number one is a Bas Yisrael, that she gets skila is by an arusa, only an arusa. After sheitza kas Bas Kayin l'streifa. Also, when the Torah says exception number two, a Bas Kayin, she is going to be mizana, she gets streifa. Also, it's talking about arusa, not a nesua. So now we're going to say a little more in Rabbi Shmuel, but the main point to Rabbi Shmuel is this halacha that nesua Bas Kayin does not get streifa. She gets chenek just like a regular Eishes Ish who's mizana and nesua who's mizana. Now the Brisa continues. The Edom were mazim her, and the person who's boiled her are included in the pasuk. Now the Gemara, before it even explains it, jumps in and says, "Boila, my kasher zama." How does boila have to do with the pasuk kasher zama? There's no shaychus. Ella, the Gemara says this is what it means. The zaymimim are included in the misa of boila. In other words, the boila does not get streifa. He tisaref. All right, she gets streifa, but not boila. We said this on Amud Aleph from the top. So, but mishum shenemar vasisim lekasher zam lasis la'achiv, we say by his zaymim that the pasuk is he has to do kasher. He gets the einish that he wanted to plan to do to his brother. His brother is male. So in a situation when he wanted to do something to a male and a female, like in this case, he wanted to kill both the man who he said was false. They said falsely was mizana, and the woman they said falsely was mizana. In such a case, the Torah says, you do what he wanted to do, give him the misa that he wanted to do to the achiv, to the brother, not to the achaisa, not the achaisa, and therefore he gets the same misa that he wanted to give to Bayala. He wanted to give to the person who's mizana with him, which is going to be chenek. That's what Rabbi Shmuel says. So the Brisa is going to continue, but this is the sheet of Rabbi Shmuel Yishmael that the Gemara was referring to before. That a Nesua Bas Kayin does not get Shreifa. Rabbi Kiva Aimer, Achas Arusa Vachs Nesua Yatzis L'Shreifa. Rabbi Kiva argues, and he says, like the halachas, like the shittas we had yesterday and earlier today, that a Nesua also gets Shreifa if she's a Bas Kayin. But only Arusa Nesua. Yachal Afilu Pnuya. Maybe you think not a Pnuya. I'm sorry, Nemer Kan Aviyah, Nemer Lalan Aviyah. You have the same drasha Aviyah Tanara Marasa. Malalan Nosim Zikas Abal. Avkan's Nosim Zikas Abal. Just like by Nara Marasa, she has to have a husband in the picture. So too by Bas Kayin, she has to have a husband in the picture. So if a Bas Kayin who's a Pnuya, she's not married as Mizana, she does not get Shreifa. Only an Arusa and an Asur according to Rabbi Kiva. Rabbi Shmuel though, he argued with Rabbi Kiva. He said not an Asur. So now Rabbi Shmuel is going to answer back to Rabbi Kiva. I'm sorry, Rabbi Shmuel said only an Arusa, not an Asur. Rabbi Shmuel says, well, you're learning Gzer Shava. Over there, it's talking about a Nara Marasa, only an Arusa. So we're learning Gzer Shava straight through and say, over here also is a Nara Marasa and not a Nesua, just like I said. Rabbi Kiva said, Yishmael Achi, my brother Yishmael, Bas Ubas Sanhedrin. It says, Uvas Ishkayin Kisei Chalisnais. An extra vav at the beginning. It's a riboy. What? Yeah, it's a riboy. It's a riboy to tell you that even if she's in a suah. So I'm learning the fact that she's in a suah from the riboy of uvas, not from the drasha of Esavia, which tells me that that she has to be married, not a pneuya. Amar Leis, Rabbi Shmuel said back, because you're Derish Bas Ubas, the riboy of the extra vav, you should take this girl out to Shreifa. Im mashma lahaviyas and asua, haviyas and pnuya. If you're saying that it's marbe and asua, bring a pnuya also. Im mashma lahaviyas and pnuya, and if you're saying the Gzer Shabbat to say not a pnuya, haviyas and asua, don't say the asua also. Rabbi Shmuel, Rashi explains, Rabbi Shmuel misunderstood Rabbi Kiva. When Rabbi Kiva answered Rabbi Shmuel and he said, I'm Derish Bas Ubas, the riboy of Ubas, so he said, oh, you're saying Ubas, any type of girl who's Bas Kayin, then say even a Pnuya, right? All types. Why? Right? Because he thought that when Rabbi Kiva was saying Ubas, he was saying, I'm not Derish the Gzer Shava. Elamai, he says, so you Derish the Gzer Shava, and that's why it's only a Pnuya? If you Derish the Gzer Shava, that's why it's only a Pnuya, say it's only an Arus also. You can't have it both ways. Where it says, Rabbi Kiva, Ahani Gzer Shava Lemukit Pnuya, he says, no, I use them both. In other words, he's saying, Rabbi Shmuel misunderstood me. But I'm not using just Uvas or just Aviyah. I'm using both. Gzer Shava, Aviyah is coming to exclude a Pnuya. If she's not married, she doesn't get Shreifa. Ahani Bas Ubas, and the riboy of the extra vav, Ubas, is coming to be marba in the suah that she also gets shreifa. Rabbi Shmuel Sabar, Yidkamer like Bas Ubas, Shmamina 100 Mitzvah Shava. Rabbi Shmuel thought when he was hearing from Rabbi Kiva that when Rabbi Kiva said Bas Ubas, he was being chayzer from Mitzvah Shava. Okay, that's the dialogue between Rabbi Shmuel and Rabbi Kiva. But it still leaves, the Gemara says, leaving us with a couple of questions. Rabbi Shmuel, hi Bas Ubas, my Darish Bay. We know Rabbi Shmuel, but Rabbi Kiva uses the extra vav for. What does Rabbi Shmuel use it for? He learns it for what the Shmuel Bar Avin learned in the Brisa. This is Rabbi Shmuel needs the pasuk for this. That what? We find that the Torah by male Kohanim makes a difference between Zacharim who are Tamim, they have no mumim, they could do Avaida, and a Zachar is a Baal Mum, let's say he has a cut off foot, right? He can't do the Avaida, he can't hop around and do the Avaida. And the Torah lists a bunch of mumim for a Kayin. So we would say, Yachal Nachlik Bivnei Sayin, maybe a Bas Kayin who's a Balas Mum. If Bas Kayin is born without a foot, she's a Balas Mum, she lost her foot in an accident, maybe she won't get Shreifa. Kamalemer bas ubas. That's what the riba bas ubas is. That any bas kain, even if she's a balas mum, will get streifa. Rabbi Akiva, how does he learn that halacha now? The pasuk says, "Mi veheim makrivim v'hayu kodesh." The pasuk says, but talking about the kohanim, "Ki es la'ishi Hashem lechem l'kayim, heim makrivim v'hayu kodesh." They bring it, and it should be kodesh. They is a riboy, lashon rabim. To include even a balas mum is considered. I'm sorry. Actually, that's not my claim always. Right, so it's saying V'hayu Kodesh, that's not from him. V'hayu Kodesh, they should be Kodesh, it means even if they're Balimum. Rabbi Shmuel, Rabbi Shmuel says, if I would have learned from there, that's only them, because it's talking about the Kohanim. That pasuk is really talking about Kedeshim Tila L'Kayim, it's talking about the Kohanim. But they say in love, but not their daughters. Kamash Mulan, and so the pasuk tells us that no, it's only the. So you would think that it means only the man, not the woman. That's what the pasuk says from the other pasuk before, from Bas Kubas. Rabbi Shmuel, hi, Asaviyim Mechalelas my Darishbay. What's Rabbi Shmuel used the pasuk Asaviyim Mechalelas for? This is what we were talking about before. You'd see that this, what happens, what's the meaning of Asaviyim Mechalelas? The Barle L'Chitanya, need for the following brisa. Higher Amir would say, Ma'atam Lemer Asaviyim Mechalelas. What's the pasuk Asaviyim Mechalelas telling us? Shemhayu Noigim B'Kaidash, if they would be Noig Kaidash with this Kayin, with her father, Noigim B'Chel, no more Kaidash. Kavod, if they gave him Kavod before, Noigim B'Mizayin, they embarrass him. I remember they say, Arar Shazu Yalad, Arar Shazu Gidel, Arar Shiatzu Mechalasav. Cursed is this guy that he gave birth to this girl, that he raised this girl, that this girl came from him. Ravashi says, Kaman Karina Rashiva Rashiva, Filu Rashiva Tzedika. Who, according to which Tana, can we call somebody, you are a Rasha by Rasha, even if the father is a tzaddik? Kaman Kai Tana, like this Tana, that even though the Kohen, the Etzem didn't do anything wrong, we considered him as Saviyah Mechlalas, that Mamish, the father goes down in Darga, and we can call the daughter that she's a Rasha Bas Rasha, even though her father, the Etzem, is not a Rasha. That's a Saviyah Mechlalas. That's
the way the father happens.
That's a Gemara in the end of Yuma. We'll get to that in Mirza Hashem next time around. The Mirza Hashem on Sunday will start on the top of Nundal and Aleph. Tanya Kavasi Drabba, right at the top. Yeah, right at the top.